I'm happy that the teachers take this topic very seriously. So the topic is the path from a competent to a complete teacher, a never-ending story. So what is the importance of this topic? The importance is that since we start teaching, we also start learning about education, and it's a never-ending story. The question I asked yesterday, and I asked many teachers, is do you believe you are competent or complete teacher? Competent, of course. Whenever we finish university, we're practically competent teachers. But do we ever become complete teachers? That's the question and the topic we are going to discuss today. So what is professional development? What comes to your mind the first time, on your mind when you hear the word professional development? So it is, I would ask you to write in comments, what do you think, what do you believe, what means to you to be the words professional development. So I had some interesting answers when I asked these questions. Now I would also like to ask you to write in comment what, according to you, is professional development. What comes to your mind first when you hear the words professional development? So please give me your answers in the chat room. I have put some points, some bullet points here. So continuous skills development, yes, event plans, books that help me grow. Very important book, reading about books. This conference, yes, the first thing that comes to my mind is also the ELTAM conferences. Professional learning network, very important. We'll talk about this one. Any types of events, improving our teaching skills. Excellent answers. So there's no, there are many, there's a sea of answer to this question. Thank you very much for contributing. So improving teachers, teaching methods and techniques, learning how to understand students and their needs, which is very important. And of course, networking. Many of you mentioned networking. Networking is very important for our professional development. All right. So what forms of professional development do we, something that we just mentioned, so school discussion with colleagues. This is something that most of the teachers don't see as professional development, but discussions with your more experienced colleagues, discussions with colleagues that have been, for example, to a conference, that have learned something new, to a seminar, discussions about problems in the school, problems with students, how to solve some issues, are also a very important form of professional development. So school discussions, do take them seriously, and do take them as a form of professional development. Then school case studies and problem solving, something similar with the school discussions. Then seminar and conferences, something that for me is one of the most important forms of professional development. This conference today, for example, adds a lot to the professional development of all our participants here. Active participation in teachers association, very important. There are your peers, all your peers are there, and you should actively be actively included in their work. I've been actively included in ELTAM for a very long time, and I have that has contributed my professional development and my growth as a teacher extremely. Then do researches of topics that you believe are important for your teaching, topics that you believe will contribute to your growth, to the growth of the educational system as a whole. And as very important for me is writing articles, books, or even writing notes of your teaching, even writing notes of the way you handle some problems or you deal with some issues with your students. Writing notes from books you read, writing notes from something you come across on the internet, writing notes of something that you believe will improve your work, you will improve your methods, you will improve the way your students learn. Writing books for many teachers I have talked to is something that is somewhere away from their reach, I would say, but trust me, as you will see later, this comes like a natural thing if you work passionately as a teacher. So my very important question for me and my question to you is, who plans your professional development? Most of the teachers leave that to the Ministry of Education, their school. What about you? I would like to ask you to share your opinion or to share your practice in the chat room. Who plans your professional development? If you can write a short message like, who plans your professional development? Mainly in state school, I would say we are mostly obliged to follow the Ministry of Education's plan, the Agency of Education, Bureau of Development of Education. But for you personally, who plans your professional development? If you can write, we as teacher, excellent. So I have chosen a couple of bullet points, like mostly like those who are planning the whole educational system, the Ministry of Education, Agency of Education, Bureau for Development of Education. But I would say no one knows your weaknesses, your strength, and the way you teach, and no one knows your classroom performance as you do. Many times we have to think about the way we teach, and then we have school team. Excellent, excellent. Yes, we have school team for professional development, which follows some I would say points from the ministry, and that we have to follow always. But we are the ones who would choose if you want to go to a conference, to a seminar. Many times it analyzes our personal plans and makes the school professional development plan. Excellent. Yes. The school principal is also one of the people, one of the institutions who plans or who decides about our professional development. English department is also one of the points. For example, in our English department, we cannot go to every conference, to every seminar. We cannot visit every single professional development event that is happening. But many times you can organize, if one of the teachers is going to a conference, they can share. Actually, it should be mandatory to share what you have learned in a conference, what you have learned, what you have read, what you have, or your research has shown. So that is very, very important. The end point is that you are supposed to be the one who is working on your professional development. Of course, that will mean that you have to give much of your free time, much of your time on professional development, but the end result is always what matters the most. So most the professional, yes, dissemination. Dissemination is very, very important. Teachers are not being a selfish. It's not a teacher's. That's not a teacher's characteristic. So sharing with your colleague is very, very important. Sharing what you have learned at a conference, what you have learned at a training, what you have learned from a student. So sharing or dissemination with your colleagues is very, very important. Very important. So since we saw who is in charge of our professional development, I would say we are the most, we are those who are supposed to work on our professional development, and we are supposed to, we are the ones who are deciding the way we develop professionally. Let's go to another point. So first one is consult your colleagues, meaning as a professional development, school discussion with your colleagues is one of the professional development points that are mainly disregarded by the teachers, who believe that not much can be learned by just talking or consulting our colleagues. So talk to your more experienced colleague about issues in your school or issues with the students. Share experiences or knowledge. Ask for help. This is very important. Ask for help if you have some issue. Many times we believe we can overcome or we can deal with some issues on our own, but ask for help if you need help with some student. For example, I had some dyslexic students in my classroom. This is the topic I just came to my mind because I listened to Maria. So I went to my colleagues. None of them were very experienced and did not have much, let's say, much information about dyslexia. But after I reached out to Einstein, the organization about dyslexia in Macedonia, I realized that I had a couple of dyslexic students in my classrooms. So I've realized that they could help a lot. Then I reached to my colleagues as well, sharing the information I received, trainings I got from Einstein, and in the end, we discovered some of our students are dyslexic, even though they were there was an etiquette on them that they are bad students, they didn't want to learn, etc., etc. Also, the first time I started teaching, I had a Down syndrome student in my classroom. I didn't know what to do with that student. So talking to my colleagues, talking to some institution really helped me improve and learn about how these students learn. In the next phase, when I felt confident teaching this student, I shared all these things with my colleagues. Talk to your students. Your students are also very important for your growth as professionally growth. I would say that at the same time we teach our students, we also learn from our students a lot, and this should be very important for every teacher. Talk to the students' parents. Many times we don't know much about the students, so from their appearance, from what they do at the schools, at the school. So we should talk to the parents, and we can learn a lot from the parents. Also, write down your thoughts, experiences, conclusions. Writing down, I would say, everything we read, everything we encounter. That was my practice while I was teaching, which helped me a lot in my growth. Many times we just go to a conference, go to a seminar, or talk to some of our colleagues, talk to some of our students, and in the end it just passes by. Everything should be written down. You should have a diary, like writing down your students' experience, writing down the experience with your colleagues, writing down professional development experience like conferences, like seminars, like educational experience out of your country, which is very, very important. And in the end, it will pile up into something that will you should come back to and will help you grow a lot. I would go to the next point. So participate in seminars or conferences. What we just talked about. So visit professional seminars, participate actively in conferences, something that we are doing today and yesterday, and which is very, very important for our growth. Present your thought, experiences, conclusion. We said that teachers are not selfish people. Actually, one of the first traits of a teacher is being altruistic. Discuss with your colleagues from other schools or countries. You have not only in your school, you can learn a lot from your peers, from your peer teachers, from other schools, or even from other countries. And networking, as we mentioned previously, is very, very important as well. So this is one of my experiences, professional experiences about education, which I'm very grateful to ELTAM and to all those people who made it possible for me. My sole experience in Devon, England, where I really networked with many teachers from all around the world, which really helped me learn about myself, first of all, learn about education in the whole in different countries, the different experiences from different educational systems in different countries. And I tried to include all these things I learned about the education in my classroom and share everything with my colleagues, share with my colleagues from different schools, and try to make it possible for them to include some of my experience in their teaching, trying to make all the educational system grow, presenting at different conferences, what I've learned, presenting at seminars, and then of course dissemination in my school. This is my international experience. This is for me not to, I would say not to brag, but I want to motivate other teachers, motivate my colleagues to work on themselves, so they can have these achievements. They can have so they can grow as teachers and as professionals. My Kent State University experience, where I also learned a lot about education, especially about the educational system for teachers all around the world. We had teachers from all the continents in the world, sharing their experiences, learning from each other, and of course, grow professionally. One more of these wonderful teachers. I would say for this, I would say system for this program, the Fulbright program, they are choosing the best teachers from every country and bring them all together in one place, so we can work, we can share, and we can produce new knowledge about education, and the educational system. This is the school experience in the USA. I not only that we visited the university, not only that we went and learned theoretically, but we had to learn in practice, see how education works in the United States, even make our own lessons there, teach them about our culture, teach them about what we are learning at university, and of course sharing with teachers from America. It is interesting how much they're interested in our systems. It is interesting that usually the educators from different countries believe that their system is the best, the way they teach is the best. But it is very interesting how humble these teachers are and how willing they are to learn from us. This is the Department of Education, United States, presenting at a conference. Yes, not only should we be at a conference to hear other teachers, but we should spread our word, spread what we are striving for, what we are fighting for in education, spread our experiences in education. So whatever you have to say it at a conference, seminar. So many, trust me, many times when I have had a talk on some topic, many teachers come to me and they're very interested in what we have to say. So helping others grow is also helping you grow. There might be some teacher with different views, that you might change your views on something. So presenting at the conference, it's not just about your presentation, but how other people feel about your teaching experience, how other people feel about what your the way you have experienced something might be much different from the way the other teachers experience it. So presenting at the conferences is very, very, very important, very important for professional development. And from the bottom of my heart, I motivate all the teachers to share everything, to share their experience, to share what they've learned from their classroom or what their research have shown at conferences. Also networking, this is very, very dear picture to me. Taking an active part in teachers organization. This is after a seminar I had with my dear colleagues from ELTAM, where I've been a proud member for many, many years. I hope I have contributed to the development of the organization, development of the teachers, my colleagues. So I'm very happy to be, and I encourage all the teachers to take part in the educational system through the teachers organization, because you can find the teachers, the teachers who are like your family will become your family, and you will find that you can learn a lot from these teachers. Family of teachers. Some of you may recognize yourselves here. So this is the previous ELTAM conference, which is in Struga. I was hoping, and I'm hoping, I will meet you. Amazing, isn't it? Yes. Not only to take a part of conferences. Yes, I love the photo as well. So not only taking part in conferences, sharing experiences, but also organize events or participate in organization. The network you're making through organizing events is even brings teachers even closer. This is an event I organized together with my colleague. It's called CREF, the best international education festival for movies. So teachers making movies. There are many different categories, and I'm very proud to have been part in this organization of the CREF in Macedonia. I think it was held only once in Macedonia a couple of years ago, but it was a great event, and it had great interest from teachers from all over the Balkans. So what do we do after the seminar or after the conference? Okay, what in the chat, can you tell me what do you usually do after each conference or after each seminar you visit? What are the next steps, or what do you usually do after the seminar? Most of us, most of the teacher I'm talking to, the teachers I'm talking to, or what the mentally perceived idea about conferences and the seminar is that we go there, listen to what other people have to say, listen to their methods, their techniques, their work. But when we come back in our classroom, we continue doing the things the way we are doing it before. I have in the chat room, I'm really happy to see some comments saying chat with colleagues and friends about it. So share the information we have learned from these conferences or seminar. So chat with colleagues and friends about it. Implement activities in the classroom. Yes, if you don't implement this activities, or if we don't implement these ideas in our classroom, if we don't share with our colleagues, that is practically lost time. So beside networking with our colleagues, we have to communicate with other. Yes, try out some of the ideas we have got. Excellent point. I'm very happy to hear this, to see these thoughts from you in the chat. So communicate what you have learned to your colleagues, or as we say, disseminate. So communicating with our colleagues or sharing with our colleagues is very important. We are not teachers if we do not share. And even more important, practice new methods or techniques in the classroom. So whatever we see, some things might not be appropriate for our classroom, but some things which we see that can improve our teaching, we have to practice them. Many times I have learned, or I have seen something at a conference or at a seminar. I practice that in my classroom, but you can develop it, help it grow as an idea, help it grow as a technique, as a method. You can either come up with new methods, new ideas, which will work, of course, for your students and for your classroom. Excellent. So during these seminars, conferences, I would say, during all these meetings, as I said before, you should keep a notebook or keep it in your computer as files. If you write articles for the conferences, keep them. Many good things can come out of this. So my biggest recommendation is take notes, write down things, write down ideas. Many times you encounter some issue, you work on this issue at the moment, but you forget it after a period of time. If you don't write down, you'll surely come across once again, then you should come back to this problem. Many times while we are developing as our teachers, developing ideas, developing methods, write it down. Yes, publish photos, very important for our conferences. Writing down ideas, writing down things we have learned from other teachers, things we have learned from other articles, from books. Write something that really catches your eyes. Write down and try implementing it, try developing it. So writing is very, very important for teachers. Even small issues, even small things that happen in the classroom, write it down. Write down your experiences in your educational experiences. For example, if you go to a conference to a foreign country, meet your colleagues from different countries, write down their experiences, write down about their educational system, write things down. So I have been doing that since the first day I started teaching, since the first problem I encountered, since the first issues or first state for the students I have encountered. I have been writing it down, and it piled up years and years and years. After a couple of years, while I was working with my colleague, my dear colleague, my friend from the United States, living in California, working on a very interesting book about education, or about curiosity of the students, or how to use that curiosity in our classroom. We were transferring that book, I would say not translating, but transferring with examples and issues and questions from our country. I have it with me, the book of What If. So while I was working on this book, I met with the publisher. I met with their reduction, with their, I would say, editors. And I talked to them about my experience, about what I'm doing in education, and they really, really got interested. After finishing this book, they asked me to send what I've gathered, what I have written down, and trust me, out of, I would say, from a teacher, out of nowhere, I became a writer. They saw my notes, they saw my what I've been compiling with the years, and they got very interested. After a while, this book came out. So this is my contribution to education. Unfortunately, for now, it's only in Macedonian. I hope this will be translated in different languages. For example, for now, there's some interest in our neighboring country, Serbia, and I hope very soon it will be in English. So this is my contribution to education. It's a from competency to completion. It's a guide for survival of teachers, or teacher survival. It comprises of many topics in education. I would say it touches, or it would give give a birth of interest, or it will give a spark of interest for the teachers, or even give some information which we cannot see in books, in different books. Some of the information are there from my experience, I would say kind of experimenting with methods, teaching methods. When I see some pupils struggling, I try to find a problem for that issue. Taking notes, reading about it, helped me learn and grow, not only for me, but yeah, with this book, I'm transferring this growth, this knowledge to my peer colleagues. I hope everyone will get interested in reading these books. But not only compiling, let's say, issues about different teaching issues, but through the years, I was also compiling materials I used for teaching my students. So I got offered to publish this in a grammar of the English language for Macedonian learners. which can be also very, very, very useful for the students and also for the teachers, but help them with, let's say, some exercises somewhere where they need to, they need help how to approach the teaching of some grammar elements, and so on and so forth. And of course, my other love, I will not say second, but my other love is literature. I also published a book on literature. This is a comprehensive comparative analysis of Macedonian and British, some point of Macedonian and British literature. I will not delve into it. And one more, I have it with me. I didn't put it on the PowerPoint. Is a multi-ethnic book of students sharing their worlds, these are students from the four ethnicums, primarily from our country, from Macedonia, share their world with us, and I compiled it into a book. So my message to you is always write down your ideas, write down your thoughts, write down what you've learned at a conference, at a seminar, what you've learned with by talking to a colleague. Write it down. You don't know where it will lead. For me, I was very fortunate that it led me here where I am. I was very fortunate that someone would listen, would want to read about my story. And trust me, many people are interested in your stories. If I would leave, I don't know if I have time to for some questions. This is my email. Thank you for being present here. This is my email. You have it in the, I believe, in the background. You can see it. So whatever questions you have, you can email me or through the application app. If you're interested, you can message me. And also I have my email here as a contact. So if there are any question, whether you want to ask it in the chat room or whether you ask it, you want to ask me, please feel free. Before, I don't know if we still have time.
We have another minute.
Another minute. So if anyone is interested in anything I've been talking now, if anyone wants to ask me any question, please feel free to do so. Let me see, chat. Or any comment, anything. Thank you very much, Alexandra. All right, so if you remember something you really want to know, or to maybe some notes, some message, please feel free to I came back to the first page, first slide, sorry. Thank you, Sanjana. Yes, I really love the topic of this conference, sharing stories. Yes, thank you very much, Neja. So if I believe the time is up, thank you very much to everyone who contributed to this conference. Thank you very much for the for listening to my story, and thank you very much for the invitation of ELTAM.